Good evening, and this is the WWE Summerslam 2016 review. And yeah, well, this week I watched four pay-per-views this week. One was Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor. The other was UFC 200 202, NXT Takeover 2 in Brooklyn, and tonight's WWE SummerSlam. And I've categorized to first, and I've had to say that Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor was the best out of the four. When it comes to wrestling, when it came to the crowd, when it came to the fact that no one was bored and it didn't end in a crappy endings, just like it did in SummerSlam. But I'm not saying that NXT was any good. I mean, the fact that Bobby Roode wasn't like the Bobby Roode that I saw in TNA. This one was watered down and a goofball. I mean, he wasn't the. I mean, in TNA he was a man's man, but here he's just goofy. Yeah. Tonight in SummerSlam, it started off so good, and there was some good matches. So one unexpected result, and I waited to see on someone's career. Well, I didn't watch the pre-show's tag team match, which I think was like a free-for-all tag team. I don't know, with the SmackDown tag teams. I know that the Usos won, which I don't care. And then there was another kickoff show match between Sami Zayn and Neville versus the Dudley Boys. Yeah, it was a good match, but it was short because it just emphasized how the Dudley Boys weren't working together, and Neville won with the red arrow. And I think I like the team with Sami Zayn and Neville. I mean, they work sync in some spots. I mean, especially when Neville was used Sami Zayn as a platform to jump off to attack the Dudley Boys. But yeah, I don't think the Dudley Boys are going to be around the WWE anytime soon, or they got to get broken up. Possibly because they keep on screwing up. Yeah, good way to bring back the Dudleys. And let's see, on the last match for the pre-show was the best of 7 series between Sheamus and Cesaro. And I have to say, out of those three, it's probably the best match of the kickoff show. And probably the way it's going down at SummerSlam, probably the best match of the night. I mean, I'd like to see Sheamus and Cesaro go up against each other, even though the results of whoever wins won't advance any further in this company. Yeah, well, it was a good technical wrestling between these guys, and it only ended when Sheamus distracted the referee long enough to poke Cesaro in the eye with a thumb and deliver the bro kick for the win. So, and I don't know, I think it's probably going to be a Monday Night Raw. They're going to do this again. And I guess the next pay-per-view, which now they're saying they're going to have 19 pay-per-views in a year. And, oh, God. The way they say this, that they create brand new pay-per-views. Yeah, one of them is Night of Champ. One of them is Clash of the Champions, which is a WCW televised event that they have. But now they call it a pay-per-view. And here's the thing. The graphics is the same as Night of Champions, so no difference. Because of this rebranding, which is stupid and unnecessary. It's confusing. It's just going to kill this company. And those commercials throughout the kickoff show, I don't get it. why have commercials in a kickoff show, especially when you have commercials in the middle of action, especially with Cesaro and Sheamus. And these were commercials that, you know, that real advertisers pay the WWE to get them on the so-called pay-per-view. No, it's theirs. All the network commercials about getting a network talk about these new wacky zany shows. Yeah, and they talk about this cartoon series in which, stories from the pros in cartoon form. Sad. I mean, this proves that the WWE is for kids and not for adults. And I'm really pissed off at the very end of this pay-per-view. Okay, well, then the first match of the night was Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens versus Enzo and Cass. And this is their hometowns, or so they say. I know they came out there and they're talking about all the great rappers from Brooklyn, talking about Biggie Smalls. And Enzo had a picture of Biggie Smalls on the back of his jacket, so that's all right. Yeah. Oh, that shit was good. I mean, between Owens and Jericho, what they call himself, Jericho. I want to call him Jericho Owens, but that's the thing. Well, Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens went over as they defeated Enzo and Cass with what looked like a super code breaker, because Kevin Owens did a pop-up, tried to do the pop-up power bomb, but he threw Enzo over himself. He went over Kevin Owens, and Chris Jericho caught him with a code breaker. I mean, it did look like a clean code breaker, but it was a super code breaker. So, yeah, that was an enjoyable match. But then, I don't know, that this got me worried. It was the WWE Women's Championship between Charlotte and Sasha Banks. And I don't know, the action was great. I mean, Sasha was doing her moves and everything. But then it got to the point where Sasha Banks was on the top turnbuckle and Charlotte knocked her off, but somehow she landed really bad at her neck. I mean, they kept showing the replays, and she just felt like all her weight just landed on that neck. And throughout the entire match, it looked like Sasha was hurt, and it looked like they needed to stop the match, but Charlotte kept on going and just let it continue. It looked bad. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know whether Sasha really hurt herself that bad, but it looked. I don't know. It just kept on. I mean, Sasha Banks tried her best, but then I don't know. I think that if Charlotte saw how bad her injuries were, she wouldn't do any moves that involved her neck. But she did, especially with the natural selection. But then in the last bit of the match, Sasha Banks had her into the bank statement, but then Charlotte got out and countered with a roll up for a pinfall, and Charlotte is your new champ once again. So I'm guessing the women's revolution is going to stop, because she had this great victory on Raw. She was a champ. But then I would have thought that she was going to go over in this match. But because of this injury, that they're probably not certain whether or not she was going to continue to fight, especially if her injury was so severe. I mean, after the match, she was lying on the ground. and the refs and the doctors were there just checking her out. I don't know. I think this might put Sasha Banks on the shelf for a couple of months now. Uh, I don't know. If she was in a different wrestling organization, maybe this would kind of stuff wouldn't happen. I mean, you don't see wrestlers injure themselves rarely in other organizations. I mean, I know that Eddie Edwards broke his ankles during, a TNA show, and Neville broke his ankles during the Raw, and he was out for a couple of months. And Sasha just came back for injury, and now she's re-injured herself, especially on the neck. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I really hope that Sasha Banks comes back because I don't know who Sasha Banks is going to wrestle against next because Paige is out, suspended, and I don't know. And the next match was for the Intercontinental title, Miz versus Apollo Crews, and I thought this was a great match. And Maurice looked awesome during this match. And and the Miz went over. He beat Apollo Crews with the skull crushing finale because, like, when Apollo Crews was trying to do a splash in the quarter, the Miz moved out of the way, but Apollo Crews leapt so high that his head hit the ring post, and which allowed the Miz to do the skull crushing finale for the win. So it's a clean win for the Miz. And I thought that it's best that he does retain that title because, I mean, if a newcomer just comes in and wins the Intercontinental title, then what's the point? I mean, if any newcomer just go in and win, I mean, that's what happened when, let's see who. Santino Morello won the title so quickly on his first match in the WWE. But, okay. And next, oh, this was a surprise. AJ Styles versus John Cena. And I was surprised that John Cena's moves were a little bit better than usual. I mean, he did a sunset power bomb on AJ Styles, perfect. I mean, they kept using their finisher on each other. The AA and the attitude adjustment, the SCFU, and Michael Cole said something that was, I don't know, I don't know, it was JBL or someone on that panel, but I don't know, when AJ Styles was about to did the style clash on John Cena, and I think it was JBL, he said that nobody really gets out of the Styles clash, and that was not the truth because the first time he did a Styles clash in WWE, they kicked out. So, and the Styles clash was it deemed a finisher for months because everybody kept getting out of that. And somehow AJ Styles won the match, and this was clean. It was a clean win. No ref bumps, no interference. AJ Styles won the clean. And I thought that John Cena was going to go over, but looks like he won. And at the very end, then when AJ Styles left, John Cena was just, I don't know, he's like surprised or disappointed. And then he took off his Never Give Up armband. I walked out of there, and the camera just panned to that armband. I don't know. I mean, yes, AJ Styles did survive the Golden Shovel, but let's not forget what happens after Cena loses. He gives an excuse, and let's wait for the excuse. on SmackDown, and I have to say that after this match, it just went downhill after this because somehow it just went downhill. The crowds was dead. Yeah. Okay, a little bit to note that at the beginning of the SummerSlam pay-per-view, you had Daniel Bryan and Shane. They were talking to Jon Stewart, the host of SummerSlam, and Steph was and Mick Foley was there, and Jon Stewart was talking to Nick that he's talking about why he trusted Stephanie. She's mean and all that, but then everybody just planned that Stephanie was behind her. She got mad, but then he walked off in New Day. He had his kid with him, and oh my god, I don't know what the fuck. Because when Xavier Woods played that trombone, his Jon Stewart's son just got all excited. I don't know, because they had like a box of Bootios. He was giving them away to everyone, and then Jon Stewart made an appearance before the WWE Tag Team Championship because then he said, I don't know, he talked about the last time he was here at SummerSlam, he cost John Cena a match. And the one thing that he remembered, that if you're going to interfere in a match, make sure your shirt is tucked in because nobody wants to see no man's gut. And oh my god, I don't know why. But then he decided he was going to do Big E's part of introducing the New Day. He was wearing the New Day shirt and then had the unicorn horn on. And he did that, the Brooklyn, don't you dare be sour and all that. And, the New Day came out there. Kofi was throwing Bootios out in the crowd. And then, at the back, they had like a segment in the back where Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows had those jars, the specimen jars with Biggie's balls, and they had Kofi's and Xavier Woods, and they came out there. They had the lab coats on, and then they came outside the ring, but then they had a table set up, but they put Biggie's balls. They put an empty jar for Xavier Woods and Kofi, but then I think Carl Anderson pulled out a small jar that was labeled John for Jon Stewart. I don't know. This match was all right. I mean, they had some good combos, and they did a New Day stop. They call it, I don't know which. I don't know what they call it. The unicorn stop. And then Xavier Woods once again did that. Where he was on the top rope, but then he was walking on the top rope and then leapt up for elbow drop. And what I don't get is why Michael Cole called that a prelude to the Macho King. Because if you want to see an elbow drop prelude to the Macho King, go watch Ring of Honor, Jay Lethal's Hail to the King. And then it got to the point where Carl S. and Luke Gallows had the upper hand about the win, but then Jon Stewart tried to interfere in the match by coming into the ring. Yeah, and then he was cowering in the corner, trying to do the too sweet signs, but then Kofi and Woods came back in, tried to save him, but they stopped him. And then they were about to attack Jon Stewart, where the New Day song played and Big E came out there. Then he attacked Carl S. and Luke Gallows that caused a disqualification. Yeah, so The New Day retained the titles. It was a disqualification. And then, oh my God, Big E went to the jars. And then he opened up the jar that was labeled Big E. And then I don't know, he tried to swallow some of that, I think it was pickle juice, and then spit it out. I don't know why he did that. I thought he was going to get that boiled egg and eat it or something. And then they went to that little New Day dancing, and Jon Stewart was doing dancing. So, yeah, really good action and a great representation of the WWE Tag Team Division at Raw. Oh, God, it's just. And then it got worse. And then it got real worse. Then it was a WWE Championship match between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. And the surprising thing that they did such a good job building up to this match, that during this match the crowd was dead. They didn't cheer. They didn't do anything. And this was a quick match. Because I don't know, they were trying to give time for Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. I mean, I mean, uh, Dean Ambrose won with the Dirty Deeds, but it was a quick match, and they didn't go at it like everybody thought they were going to. The fact that Dolph Ziggler super kicked him on the last SmackDown show. You thought that it was gonna beat each other all across the ring, but you know what? And the funny thing, this was not the main event. You have the top tier belt, and that's the WWE Championship belt, and that's the top belt because it's been there the longest, and yet it's not the main event. I don't know why it wasn't the main event. Neither was the WWE Universal Championship match. A belt that they just made wasn't the main event. It was Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton, and I don't get why they did that. Especially what happened during the match. I just, I mean, you, build this match so much, and then only to end so quick, and not as intense as it's supposed to be. And then the next match was the 6 women tag team match between Natalia, Alexa Bliss, and Eva Marie versus Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella. Yeah, and once again, Naomi did that same ring entrance that she did on SmackDown. The light up shoes and the glow in the dark suit. Probably the best entrance of tonight. Better than Finn Balor's. And when they were announcing, Eva Marie, because we know that she's out for 30 days because of wellness tests. I don't know why. It's a work. Because I don't know why she failed the wellness test, because either she's just been opting out of wrestling because she's injured, or I don't know. It's just work. And then when they made an announcement about Eva Marie, they said she's not here due to the fact that the feds made her sad. And they made an announcement of who's going to take Eva Marie's place, and guess who came back? Nikki Bella. So Nikki Bella made her grand return, and throughout this match, it was just dead, as just like in the WWE Championship. I mean, Carmella has some great moves. I did not like Alexa Bliss's new hairdo. Uh, Ty has some good moments, and oh god, I love the part where Naomi did that motorboat, sticker button and name in Natalia's face and made her motorboat. Oh god, that was a great moment. And then Nikki Bella wrestled during this match, and she did a little spot where she was doing push-ups. Yeah, yeah. And this match ended when Nikki Bella did her finisher, which I'm going to call the Belladonna, on I think Carmella, and got the win. So Nikki Bella is back, ready to take the I don't know Divas title, SmackDown Women's title. I don't know what they're doing. They haven't made any plans yet. But I guess next pay-per-view or SmackDown pay-per-view, they're going to make it, man. But yeah, and we get to the WWE Universal Championship match, and guys, this is where it gets worse. It got worse because of the title. I don't know, because when I check on YouTube, there was a little bit of a picture of Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. It had a picture of what would be the Universal title, and I thought, yeah, that does look like a good title. But when they introduced the new WWE Universal title, it was the ugliest belt in the world. It was the worst title of all time because it was the same as the WWE title, only it was all red. It was just all red. I think they were just trying to make it look like a Raw title, but they overdid it. It was just god ugly. I mean, in the past when it was the WWF, they had all these cool forms of the WWF title. They had the Wing title, the Eagle title, the Undisputed WWE title. Then at some point, the Spinner belt was way better than this title, and and I felt uneasy during this match because, during this match, everybody was booing Finn Balor because they knew he was going to win the title. And this was the problem with the WWE. You can't put a title with someone who barely even wrestled in the company. I just don't get it. I mean, it was a good match. At the entrance with Finn Balor was a little bit better than Raw's. Only the camera work was bad because he caught a glimpse of the whole Finn Balor behind the mist. I mean, this time they had more smoke, but not enough to cover Finn Balor when the cameras pan over there. And the lighting, when in NXT, they just used the floodlights, the spotlights to do that. I mean, they could have put some spotlights around the aisle and just kept the arena lights off. And I don't know, and the painting, the makeup that Finn Balor was, it wasn't like the one he first used in NXT, which was really scary. I mean, the first time I saw it was, out of this world. But now he's in the main roster, not so much. But Yeah, this was a decent match, but the crowd just booed Finn Balor. I don't know whether they want Seth Rollins champion or they don't think it's right that he gets the title first, even though he's an established star all around the world. But this is the problem with the WWE. I mean, they created NXT to create their own superstars, but instead of that, they started getting already established wrestlers from other companies. And this is what they did before. They try to kill this is how they killed the territories back in the day. Uh, they destroyed Macho Man's father's wrestling organization. They destroyed Stu Hart's, and now they're going to try and destroy the Indies now, try to ruin their careers. And at the very end, Finn Balor was just intense. He wanted to beat Seth, and he did this stomp on Seth Rollins' head, was almost like curb stomp, and Seth Rollins did the suplex off the superplex. Then he floated into the pedigree, but then this is when Finn Balor fought back. He did number of drop kicks, then drop kicked him in the corner. And then he did a coup de grace and won the belt. And I think that was the bad part, that he gets to wear that ugly belt. I mean, it's just butt ugly. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you listen, tell me what did you think about this belt? Because I want to know. I want to know your opinions about how this belt looks. And let's see. And then we get to Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the United States title. But this match never happened because because before the bell rang, Rusev tried to attack Reigns, but then Reigns started to attack Rusev, and it just brawled outside. And I don't know. The referee was trying to get them in the ring or something, and Reigns was just relentless on Rusev. Then he sent him over to the timekeeper's box, where Reigns beat him with chairs and started beating the shit out of this guy. And then he got him out of there, and then he just started wailing on him. And then at this point, the referees had to call this match off. I mean, they kept trying to get Reigns off of him, but Roman just kept on attacking him to the point where the referee decided to end the match. And they were checking on Rusev, and they said that Rusev can't compete anymore. And then Reigns just beat the crap out of him again. And I don't know if this is his heel turn, and I don't know why. I mean, it did. Okay, let's finish it off. And then I got to the point where they were carrying Rusev off, that he was walking on his feet, but he was holding his ribs. But then Reigns came back and delivered a spear to Rusev, and then started beating the crap out of him more until the referees got him off of him and they sent him away, and that's how it ended. So all this work to promote the United States title, you threw it away with a match that never happened because you want to give Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar more time. Uh, that's just wasted hours of promoting this match. I mean, now you're going to turn Reigns heel and Rusev face. I don't know what's the end game of this. And speaking of titles, I'm uh, I don't get this universal title. I mean, it's not really a top tier belt for the company. It's a new belt that's like the United States or Intercontinental title. And the Universal title should have been the combination of the both. That when they had a match between United States and Intercontinental Champion, the belts are on the line and someone wins both belts and that will become the Universal title. But no, it's the top title for Raw. And that's going to be confusing because you can't have two top tier belts. Just like you can't have two second tier belts like the United States and your title. I mean, it's not like a specialized belt like a television title or a light heavyweight title or a cruiserweight title or never overweight title. I mean, what's the point? You become Universal Champion and you're not really the top guy in the company. You're just, I don't know, maybe second or tied, and it's confusing. And then we get to what would turn into a promotion gone wrong. I'm talking about Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton. And you could talk about 15 years in the making. Okay, first of all, Brock Lesnar and Orton were separate. They went to different brands. And Brock Lesnar with the UFC, where he became an even bigger superstar. And I was having problems with the way Brock Lesnar wrestles now because before he went to the UFC, he wrestled like a really excellent wrestler. I mean, he suplexed, but he, I don't know. I mean, he was a really good wrestler before UFC, but then after he came back from the UFC, all he's been doing is suplexes and German suplexes, and it's turned to a gimmick, especially Suplex City. I mean, it's so childish. I mean, I hate what they did about Lesnar, especially with Suplex City. And in the very beginning of this match, it was all Brock Lesnar when he was doing all those German suplexes. And then it got to the point where Brock Lesnar sent Randy Orton into the Spanish announce table, which just collapsed on its own. I guess it should put more glue. And then they went to the other commentator's desk, in which Randy Orton delivered a RKO, which was good. And then when they got into the ring, I don't know what happened, but Brock Lesnar just started pounding on Randy Orton, and I don't know, he just kept on pounding on him until to the point where he caused a big gash in Randy Orton's head. He started bleeding all over the place, and they had to cancel the match. And they said that Brock Lesnar won by a TKO. Okay, okay, this is not boxing. This is the like MMA. You go in by pinfall submission, disqualification count, but a TKO. And I don't know if this will work, but and I don't know if Brock Lesnar just got pissed off because of what Randy Orton said about him about no supplements, because he got kicked off the UFC because of supplements, steroids. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if those comments were the reason why I just beat the shit out of him. because they kept them away from each other for so long. Like the only interaction they had was when Randy Orton delivered RKO to Brock Lesnar on Raw, and Brock Lesnar delivered the F5 to Randy Orton at SmackDown. But this is a quick match. I mean, they built it so great, so well, and the ends this quick. I mean, you dumbed down the majority of matches of SummerSlam so that you can have this epic battle between Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar, and you got to end it in TKO. I mean, it looked worse. I mean, it was a big gash. It was bleeding all over. I mean, there was like a pool of blood. And I got just checked on him, and then Shane McMahon came into the ring, trying to get Brock Lesnar to leave, but Brock Lesnar delivered the F5 to Shane. And I'm sorry, I think there might be a work. I don't know. But it was the worst ending ever in any pay-per-view of SummerSlam. You got two of the best superstars in your company, and you end the match like this. It's ridiculous. I mean, the majority of matches is ended with no contest. I mean, I know how the Sasha Banks match had to end with her losing the belt because of that neck injury that she probably sustained during the match, and you had Reigns and Rusev end with no contest, and I just don't get it. This has got to be the worst. I mean, they're talking about this new era change, but look at it. It's getting worse. I mean, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, but that was because of the first matches. I mean, after Cena lost, the pay-per-view just went down. And honestly, it does surprise me that they screwed up. And they are just putting way too much pressure on themselves. I mean, 19 pay-per-views a year. And let's face it, the majority of those are not pay-per-views. They're like special televised matches. And they can't afford to put those specialized matches on television because the USA Network will allow it. I mean, the USA Network has their own lineup, and I don't think the WWE can afford it. But this is just worse. I mean, it's good that there was blood, but come on. I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow night. And you know what else? The crowd was yelling Goldberg, and I thought this is going to be the time Goldberg was about to fight, but now Goldberg's injured somehow. So, yeah. So this was terrible. The belt was ugly. Yeah, short matches. United States title was defended. I mean, it's just getting worse with the WWE. And Raw, SmackDown, I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm just going to end it right here. I just want everyone to know that I still can't get over how ugly that belt is, that Universal title. I mean, all red. I mean, they could have done anything. They could have, reinstated an old design of a belt. But no, they decided that they're going to keep the standard WWE title, only they're going to make it red. And I'm scared of what title they're going to make on SmackDown, what they're going to make I don't know, maybe the Divas or the SmackDown Women's title. I don't know if they're going to make it the same as the WWE title. I mean, they did it with the Women's title. I'm glad they still kept the same designs for the the WWE World Tag Team titles, but what are they going to do with the tag team titles for SmackDown? Are they going to call it the WWE Universal Tag Team Championship belts? And are they going to look like the WWE title? I don't know. There was no creativity with this belt. I mean, I can't get over this belt. I mean, this is worst design. I mean, the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title is awesome. The NWA World Heavyweight title is 1,000 times better than this crap. And when you compare it to the pay-per-views that happened this week with Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor, that was way better than SummerSlam. Especially with the Bullet Club and the that television title between, I think, Mark Briscoe and Bobby Fish. That was an excellent battle. Especially because there was blood in that match. And especially that the ROH World Heavyweight title match between Jay Lethal and Adam Cole, it was awesome. And you get a chance of watching Ring of Honor Just Before Dishonor, watch it, and you will see it. And if you want to see Ring of Honor, but you're not in the area where you can watch on television, there is a way that you can watch a televised broadcast of Ring of Honor. You know, if you go on the Ring of Honor YouTube channel, they have like a link to comettv.com. And and on that little on the little YouTube channel, it tells you the time they will be broadcast on comettv.com, because Comet TV is like a sci-fi channel where you can watch, you know, you call it Stargate and some old sci-fi movies. I mean, it comes at Wednesday at midnight. Then it gets played again after the first show ends. So, yeah. I mean, at least there's a way you can watch Ring of Honor now. I mean, I really want Ring of Honor to be on television. But at least I can watch Ring of Honor. Whether it's on the internet, it's way better to watch the WWE Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Because at least they let their wrestlers wrestle. They don't need no pyro. They don't need no gimmicks. They just put the wrestlers fighting each other. I don't know. I mean, I care more about the wrestling than I do about the Hollywood lights that the WWE is doing. And the WWE is just using everything to try to get themselves over. I mean, why? I mean, you keep telling yourself you're the top company in sports entertainment, but yet you're still trying to get yourself over with these movies that go to DVDs. You try to use charity to get over. You keep on tell us about the WWE Network on the WWE Network. I don't know. I think the WWE is just stretching themselves out, and I just want to if anyone's seen the NXT takeover, and that was a spot where you seen Triple H showing the trophy for the Cruiserweight Classic, who wins. And I don't know. To me, that trophy looked like a penis. I'm sorry, but it looked like a really long penis. I mean, the first time I saw it, it did look like a penis. It had the head and the shaft. I don't. I'm just wondering if Triple H chose how the WWE Universal title looked. Because if he chose a penis trophy for the Cruiserweight Classic winner, he probably chose a ugly red belt. I mean, because I remember back in the day of WCW where the television title had a red strap. It was just a red strap, nothing else. And that belt looked 1,000 times better than the WWE Universal title. I guess creative is not very creative. I don't know. I just hope that these other wrestling organizations get their stuff together. I mean, TNA's got Damian Sandow in their corner now. And I don't know what they're going to do for Bound for Glory because they got to do something big. They got to do something really big in Bound for Glory. I mean, something. At least promote Bound for Glory. At least buy some ads in television. I mean, I don't care how they promote this. They got to promote Bound for Glory. They got to promote TNA. They have to. I mean, and RH needs a new TV deal in which everyone can watch and get on a channel that won't be cut off by Comcast Xfinity because they want to save costs, even though the people who still pay digital basic are still paying the same thing as usual. I mean, it's going to get to the point where you can just go and use PlayStation View, because on PlayStation View you get a lot more channels than a basic digital. I mean, digital better than digital starter. I mean, you take out the music choice channels and the HD channels that they have on Xfinity. It's a really short order of channels. But with PlayStation View, you get all HD channels, and you get channels that not normally is on digital starter. And the best part is you don't really need to have a PlayStation 3 or 4 to use it. If you have a Roku device, you can download the PlayStation View app, get registered with PlayStation, and the basic is $29.99 last time I checked. It had a lot more channels than digital starter. And I don't know about the taxes or anything. And I think you do get the basic, I mean, the local channels. I think that's probably the deal breaker there. But you could probably try to watch it on, I mean, if Comcast gets worse and they're going to start getting rid of more channels off of their packages, it's probably best just to watch on PlayStation View. I mean, especially since now I found out that New Japan Pro Wrestling is broadcasting their shows in America on Access Television. And it's got Jim Ross doing commentary. But it's not really on Xfinity, it's on Dish channels. And I don't think it's bad. But anyway, I'm going to give this show a 4 out of 10. It was the worst pay-per-view out of the 4 that's been aired this week. And I don't know how they're going to respond to what happened tonight on Raw or SmackDown. But they got to do something, because if they don't, then they're going to lose a lot more viewers than they have right now. And I'm going to end it right here. I'm going to try to do a Raw review a little bit quicker than this. I'm not going to try to do these late night reviews. I'm going to try to do it a lot earlier, maybe an hour after Raw ends, just to get myself together. And I'll see you guys later at Raw and SmackDown review. And leave your comments for this title on this video, and talk about how you feel about the show, because your opinions matter. And yes, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks and good night.